What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful here with a name you know. Where haven't you seen this guy? WWE, Impact TNA, WCW, the Hall of Fame, maybe? And now you're seeing him at GCW. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I'm talking to Sean Waltman. It's great to see you again.
It's really good to see you, Sean.
Man,
Thanks, man.
I mean, you've read things I've written in the past. Like, man, you were a huge inspiration to me as a kid, and it's surreal to be talking to you. And man, you're back in the ring, and I'm pumped for it. Please,
Thanks.
please tell me how this came about to where you're teaming with Joey Janela against Matt Cardona, who sucks he's terrible, terrible guy, and Brian Myers.
Yeah, but come on, man. Hey, real quick though about Matt and Brian and yeah, man, like he's been a real legit been a real asshole lately, right?
Sure,
Like it's
yeah.
really overbearing and what but man, you can't deny this guy. Like you can't deny what he's done since he left WWE, man. Like the NWA world title, all this other shit he's done and so man, I have a ton of respect for him, along with like really not liking him very much
Sure, yeah. I mean, he
at
can
all.
be a total asshole, but I do respect him. The last time I did an interview with him was in Winston-Salem, and he's like, I've been sitting over there all day, and you didn't come get me to do an interview? And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I couldn't see you behind Thunder Rosa's, like, long-ass line. Like, you were just hidden back there all by yourself, lonely. I couldn't get you. Then the next thing I know, you're kicking people in the face. I'm loving it, Sean. You're
Yeah,
back.
man.
You mentioned you got another run in you. I'm so excited for this. How did it come about?
Okay, so I decide I decided I was going to get everything fixed that I could get fixed, and I mean I still have one or two little things on my body
Sure.
that are nagging me, but whatever. I feel great, uh, but I decided I'm going to make a bit of a comeback. You know, and like mind you, I understand there's a lot of guys my age and even a bit older that are talking about making comebacks
Yeah.
or are currently making comebacks, and I'm all for all of them. So, you know, there's one more to add to the list right here.
I mean,
So, no,
yeah.
but anyways, so once I had the surgery and everything's going good, I just got connected with Brett Lauderdale and GCW, man, like because I knew them from back east. I worked for them. Well, they just became Game Changer Wrestling maybe the last
Yeah.
time I worked for them, but man, that was several years back, and I was having those matches where I was still able to get in there and do my 4 or 5 greatest hits, as far as moves go, and it's kind of what people want to see, but it wasn't good enough for me. I didn't feel great about those matches, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to end it on that. And so I just really dig GCW, man. Like, I mean, they don't they try a lot of different things, man, and some of it doesn't work, and that's okay. I mean, I love their spirit. I love how I feel when I'm around all their talent, their roster, and they've all been great to me, man. Like, and like I was saying, you got a bunch of old guys coming around, and like Jeff Jarrett was there, and you know, uh, you know,
Scotty.
I mean, but like more guys like the Jeffs and the Matt Cardonas that like one might argue are just there to take the money, and
Sure.
uh, at least Matt is because he makes no bones about it, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's what he's
And
all
nothing,
about.
and Jeff, and ain't nothing against Jeff because Jeff and I are friends. We get along great, but and he looked great at the Hammerstein. So, I'm not trying to throw shade there. I'm just saying there's a lot of guys my age making comebacks. And so I'm grateful to GCW because they've kind of welcomed me with open arms. And, hopefully I can bring some new eyeballs on their product.
Yeah. GCW, February 25th. Welcome to Heartbreak, and you're teaming with Joey Janela, who
Yeah.
faced a guy who's in a somewhat similar position as you recently, Scotty Hotty. He had a nice job as a
Yeah.
WWE coach, and he said, "You know what? I think I'm going to leave. I want to wrestle again." And he
Mm-hmm.
got all kinds of buzz. I know you were in the ring dozens of times with Scotty, like around the turn of the century, and he looked great. He looked like he was having a ball in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
that's gotta like instill some confidence in you to see the kind of reaction that he's getting even.
well, I mean, it was great to see it, right?
Yeah.
And I had no doubt in my mind because like I was on a tour with Scotty over in Europe a few years back. Well, it's been more than a few years now, but like he was killing it every night, man. Like if I had to go out after him, I was worried if I could follow the damn thing or not, you know? Seriously, man, he was killing it. So it didn't surprise me that he was still going to be able to go out there and have a hell of a match. So yeah, happy for Scott. Happy for him, man.
I love seeing the growth of GCW. Like they're very good at appealing to their audience while doing things to attract new audience members. And I think this match is one of those things because Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, like they are like WWE branded guys. Like a few people that you would look at more than Matt Cardona and say that's a WWE guy because like just that's all he had done for years and years until a couple years ago, and now he's killing it. You made several jumps throughout your career, and I'm very curious about the process of those. Like, of course, everybody remembers that when you came back in '98. How far ahead had you signed before the day that you popped up on Raw and joined DX?
I want to say it was probably a good, if I had to guess, maybe about 6 weeks.
Really?
Maybe.
Man.
Yeah.
And
like I'm taking it kind of a little bit of a stab at because like no one knew. I mean, everyone kind of knew that I was probably talking back. And actually, they did know because Jim Ross leaked what their offer was to me. They fucking lowballed me on their first offer, and Jim Ross leaked it to the. Well, somebody leaked it. I'm not going to blame it completely on Jim.
Did he do it on his hotline, or did he do it to like Dave?
No, it just got out in the in the newsletters and whatever,
Sure.
and I get it, man. It was a negotiating tactic, kind of. Anyways, so yeah, but besides that, like no one knew for sure, and even like the day I showed up, Eric was still surprised.
Yeah,
apparently,
I'm
pretty sure.
I was gonna ask you like, how did that first meeting with? I assume it's Vince, probably Jim Ross as well, at that time. Like how?
No meetings, man. There was like a couple of phone calls.
Really?
And then I had my people talk to their people.
That's so fascinating to me because
yeah.
I hear about a lot of this stuff now because I'm reporting a lot of these people that are getting signed. And like back then, like I wondered like how much more was Vince involved. But I would imagine you two were on such a familiar basis already.
Yeah. Yeah. That and it was Paul that reached out to me because, I mean, obviously he wanted to continue the DX thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, I mean, who knows how it would have worked. It would probably have been just fine with, if I didn't come, but like, come on, let's be honest, man. Like me coming and joining DX really like helped that a lot. And it helped me a lot too. So,
to the contrary, do you remember your first meeting with WCW or your first conversation with WCW when they brought you in? Because I mean,
it was all done to my agent.
Oh, that's, whoo boy, yeah. That's so like today you don't. I mean, there's starting to be more agents, but like for the last 10 to 15 years, there haven't been. Right. I mean, were you happy to just delegate that and be like, man, get me the best deal?
Yeah, because they're shrewd, and I'm like, I'm just happy to be here, and like, they know like I do this shit for free. Well, like at one time I would.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much we love it, sure. Like, and they take advantage of that. So you got to have somebody doing that for you, man, if you want to get the best deal for yourself. But the thing is, man, not just everyone can go, hey, talk to my agent.
Yes.
If you don't have any like leverage, if you're not very well known, like chances are they're going to say, pound sand. So it's just, it depends on who you are, I guess.
Of course, that was shortly after the curtain call, which you weren't a part of, but right. I haven't heard much.
I was going to have to pay for that, even though I wasn't there, though. Vince let me know.
So I'm interested to what your reaction was because you weren't there. But when you hear about it, are you? I mean, is it first from Vince? Is it from one of the guys that are involved in it?
Now, I was in rehab when that happened,
Mm-hmm.
in my very first go round at rehab. And so, like, Scott called me. Like, we were all in, like, the whole time I was in rehab, and like, we all, they were already leaving, and
Sure.
I was trying to leave, but I got stuck. But like, they were on the phone with me. You know, we were talking. They were always telling me what was going on, and we were talking back and forth. And Scott's the one that told me about the curtain call.
Man.
And like, he didn't. At the time, they didn't know what the real fallout was, or exactly how much heat they had with certain people. But I get it. Like, I understand the reaction, the negative reaction from some of the other talent. Let's just put it that way. But in hindsight, like, what, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt anything.
I want to stay on the
It was
topic.
it was really self-indulging, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh,
you.
no, it's okay. But while we're on the topic of you guys, there's a match specifically it's one of my favorite matches of all time. I look back on it so fondly. You and Razor against Diesel and Sean on Action Zone. I
Yeah, man.
religiously watched Action Zone. Like, that I wasn't able to stay up and watch Raw, so I watched like Action Zone and Superstars. And that
With
match,
Charlie, man.
yeah, and that
Remember
match
Charlie,
hits
man? Yeah.
that match hits Action Zone, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm watching Buddy Landell on this show last week. All due respect to Buddy Landell or whoever it may be. Like, did you all know you had something special, like, in the ring? Because anybody who's seen that match, it makes like a permanent impression on them.
So it was a real, like, that was at White Plains,
Yeah.
Westchester County Memorial. Or Westchester Memorial, it's called. And we ran that building to death, Sean. I mean, we must have done TV there every other week, it seemed like, or once a month. It was just, and those people had seen everything and then some. And that night especially. And we were on last, and or at least like almost the end of the night. Like, it was, the people were spent, man. And we got up, and we knew, man, after that match that we crushed it. And like, looking back at it, and I'm really proud of that. It's one of my best matches I've ever been in. And honestly, man, as far as WWE tag team matches go, it's one of the best they've ever had.
By far one of the best they've ever had. And I just looked. There were 6 television tapings that day. So you all were at the end of
Exactly.
6 TV tapings.
Yeah. We still got them.
Whew, that is unreal. I'll never forget that match, because as a kid, I'm like, this match is happening on Action Zone? Like, I knew I wasn't getting usually like the biggest stars and the biggest matches on Action Zone, but I was happy to see it. And then that unfolded. I'm like, oh my God, this is.
Hey, so here, the thing about that match is, we went against conventional wisdom. So, Razor ended up taking the heat in that. And usually that's my job. I mean, I took a little bit of heat too, so he could come in and boom, boom, boom. But like, Razor took the heat, and I made the big hot tag. And it was just, that's kind of backwards for how we usually did it. But, man, it worked so good.
I remember J.J. Dillon telling me that at that time, a lot of times they'd put new guys in with you, and if they couldn't work with you, they weren't hanging around. And basically, if, like, they could tell, like, on facial reactions that it's like, did they work well with Sean? If not, they're not hanging around. Did you know at the time, like, that's kind of what was going on?
I mean, not like to that extent, because honestly, Sean, I wouldn't want that pressure. Like, hey, yeah, you're the guy that fucking thumbs down so-and-so and they didn't get a job.
At like 23 or 24 years old.
I'm like, oh, geez, that's not like, I mean, I appreciate like them having that much faith in me, but man, that's not the kind of pressure I want to have on me. Like, I don't want to be known as the guy that, like, caused people not to get a job.
Sure. I mean, were there people that you were in the ring with and you're like, oh, they ain't getting hired?
Yeah. I mean, no, not, oh, no, they aren't getting hired, because like,
Not
just
because
looked
of
at it,
you. You could just tell it wasn't going to be a fit.
I just knew I didn't have chemistry with them, and the match wasn't good.
Sure.
I never thought of this is their tryout match. I was just trying to go out there and have a good match. And the thing is, Sean, is I always did with everybody.
Yeah.
Like I never tanked it in there with anybody, or it was important for me to have a good match.
While I mentioned earlier, I mean, this guy kind of falls in that category, and I mentioned Superstars in Action Zone when you were in the ring with Chris Hamrick, and that clip pops up about once every couple of years, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Hamrick bump. How familiar were you with that specific spot that he did before that? What was your reaction to when he told you he was going to do that?
I'm like, okay. I mean, I kind of laughed, and I was like, yeah, you serious? Like, okay. I mean, because I do crazy shit too that seems crazy to other people, and I'm like, okay, man, if you say you've done it a bunch of times, because I also don't want to be the guy where the guy goes out there and gets hurt working with me too, right? But I mean, so yeah, that's, man, you see that a lot, right? And GIFs or whatever, or GIFs, whatever you call them. But there's like that match, like he gave me a really good match, not just that one spot, man. Like there's some other, like I did some kind of cool shit in there that I didn't remember doing. Like I hit an exploder suplex. Nobody even called it an exploder suplex at the time, right? Like
that. So, I loved like
stretch muffler for the finish on the guy. Yeah.
I think like 94, 95 WWF is very underrated in the ring. Like you might watch a show and Marty Jannetty power bombs Chris Candido off the top rope. Like there was like crazy stuff that that I couldn't believe was happening there. Like package pile drivers from the women on the show, like stuff that you wouldn't see them doing today. They were pulling off in like 95. And
yeah, you had Medusa, freaking Bull Nakano, people like that were killing it, man. We never wanted to follow them.
The one after Mania, the Raw after Mania, Medusa or Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano. It's one of my favorite Raw after Mania matches ever. It was so good. Like that era, I encourage like younger people, go back and watch that because it was so incredible. A match from that era I've always been like curious about. There's bootleg footage of it, but you all did a Royal Rumble at MSG in '94. And Owen ended up winning it. Do you remember like why they did that and like anything about that match?
Something different. I think it was the match Tony Halm and I got hurt in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both. I mean, not we didn't get hurt together, but both of us ended up going to the hospital. I did a spinning head scissors with Nash, and something just went wrong, and I tore my partial tear in my medial collateral of my right knee. Nothing that required surgery, but it was like I was out for like 5 or 6 weeks.
I'm like, I have your thing pulled up here, and like, yeah, you were out like 5 or 6 weeks after that.
I missed the Royal Rumble. I missed the Providence Royal Rumble
because that was like a week later. So I'm sure you were supposed to be in that.
Yeah,
man, that is a bummer. Like, what are you gonna do? It ain't ballet, as they say. And you had mentioned like you would have been in this year's Royal Rumble if asked. Like, did you speak to anybody there, like anybody in WWE about possibly doing that, or did they reach out?
No. So all I said, and it was probably similar to what I just saw RVD saying. Like I just told him, hey, I'm gonna be ready if you guys want me.
Yeah.
But like I just told him, look, also my feelings won't be hurt if you don't.
Sure.
Like, cause I'm making a comeback regardless. Like, I mean, I'm happy to do it in the WWE ring, but like, I'll be fine either way.
Well, I think it's very similar to like Scotty to Hotty. I talked to him and he's like, yeah, I left there, but I would do the Royal Rumble if they asked. You two are both guys that would get reactions for very different reasons that they haven't went to the well a million times. Love the Hurricane. They've done that a bunch. Tommy Dreamer's been in every battle royal the last 10 years, but like we haven't seen you guys do that. So I'm hopeful that eventually that'll happen. Do you have a timetable on this return? Like, or are you just like, I'll go until I don't feel like going anymore.
I'm just like, first of all, like this Friday, it'll be my first time back in the ring, and we're gonna like I'm just gonna see how I feel in this match before I start making any big plans moving forward, right? But I have tentative plans, some good shit, man. Yeah, and it's not like I don't have a like, okay, I'm gonna go out there and do this for till the end of the year and then I'm done. Like, I mean, as long as I feel good, I'll still do matches, but like, you know, I'm not gonna like, I don't want to go out there and just be all over the place. Like, I want them to be special matches, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited for this match. Joey Janela he's an entertaining fella.
He's brilliant, man. He's brilliant.
I interviewed him once.
And he's also put a lot more work in recently on other things besides just the matches and the creative stuff. Like, he's gotten his body in good shape, and you know, man, he's been on me about, like, you know, he's been wanting to have a match with me, like, you know, for
of course
a long time. I said I don't do singles matches anymore. Like, you know,
so singles matches are out of the question for you, or you just?
Well, at the time, like, let's see how I feel after this.
I mean, he had a decent one with Virgil. I'm pretty sure he could have one with you.
Oh, gee, thanks, man.
Did you? I interviewed Virgil. It was the worst. Oh, buddy, it was so bad. It was so bad. But
you know, he was at Hammerstein, and like, he's a dude. He's a good dude.
Oh, he is a nice dude.
Oh my God, man, he won't shut the fuck up, man.
I think he's a sweet guy.
People crazy. He is, but it's like, oh my God, sometimes you just got to sit there and then take it all in and like not be, you know.
Yeah.
You know, he gets virgin sometimes.
So as I've also got something pulled up, list of NWO members. I want to do a bit of an exercise with you. You know, the name 6 given to you because you were the 6th member of the NWO, right? Is that correct, or is it 1 plus 2 plus 3?
Eric kind of like never really 100% confirmed any of that, but he kind of alluded to it being something like that.
So I want to ask how you felt about the following inductees into the NWO. Like, I want to know what was maybe going through your head, like, oh, this is a good addition, or maybe this will get watered down. And we'll start with Virgil. Vincent was brought in. That was one of the first that wasn't like a direct jump from WWE. There was you, DiBiase, Nash, Hall. How did you feel when a guy like Virgil's added?
Yeah, but Teddy came first, didn't he?
Yes, Ted came. Then the Giant, then you, or actually they had the fake Sting too, who I also interviewed. Wonderful guy.
Yeah, Jeff Farmer's a good dude.
He's a great dude.
He was my tag team partner at the Osaka Dome, and like, he saved my ass too, because I told him, I said, if anyone gets me in a Boston Crab, you come in and take their head off, and he fucking did.
He's still jacked, man. I did an interview with him a couple years ago, and Scott Norton was right next to him. And Scott Norton, like, ran in to put him over. He was like, you have no idea how over this guy is in Japan.
He is. He was bigger deal than me, man. And, like, I was like, no, I'm getting the win in this match. And, like, really, man, he was more over than I was in the Osaka Dome that night. Like, I should just let him get the W, man, instead of complaining like a prima donna.
How was he to work with over here? I mean, I got to be honest.
I didn't work with him here.
Really? You didn't?
Only had a tag match with him in Japan.
It's weird. I was actually starstruck to interview him because I was like, will he want me to interview him about being somebody else? You know what I mean? Because most of the questions I had were NWO Sting stuff.
What else would you talk about?
He was wonderful. He's
great.
He was amazing. Let's talk about another interesting inductee, Kyle Petty. Do you remember Kyle Petty?
Yeah, because I was actually a pace. Like, I was at the in the pit crew for the NWO car in Daytona one time.
That's
the Busch
awesome.
Series. Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy. Like, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like, you know, wasn't like he was on TV every week with us.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that those kind of things were kind of cool, man. I like that. But you were asking about Virgil, and it just seemed to make sense because Teddy was there.
Yeah, that does make sense. Then we added Miss Elizabeth, who everybody just likes, and I personally, as a kid, I was like Kentucky royalty, so I'm gonna be a fan no matter what. But also, so many people knew her from WWF that it made a lot of sense to me as a kid.
Oh yeah, come on, that's Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You are right. She's royalty, and it made nothing but sense to me.
So then there were two that weren't from WWF, Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton. They would end up teaming together and a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Were you on board with that? Were you like, yeah, let's bring some WCW guys in there? Because the way that it had been portrayed before was like, well, we know where these guys came from, and that's why they're buddies.
Hey, so we were more stoked to have Scott Norton.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, but because I'm a Minnesota guy, and I know we knew what a stud Scott was in Japan. I mean, he's just a stud in general, but like in Japan, it was great to have him on our team because it gave us more, star power when we were in Japan. But hey, man, Buff Bagwell, he held his own, man. He carried his end of the deal, and they were both really over, man, in Japan. And we needed that, because we had that deal with them over there.
It felt like NWO added a lot of legitimacy to Buff Bagwell too. Like he went from like white meat babyface American male thumbs up to, man, he's kind of cool now.
Yeah.
And we did see a couple guys that didn't work out great for the former IRS and the former Big Boss Man, Big Bubba, and.
But IRS Mike Rotundo was another one of those guys that, like, in Japan, he was over.
Really?
Believe it, yeah.
See, that's so fascinating because being on the internet shortly after that, you would always hear, "Oh, they're over in Japan. They're over in Japan." But I couldn't easily just pull up footage of that and see them being over in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, but they were over there a lot. I mean, we had guys over there like almost full time, it seemed like.
Man.
And they were making so much money on that deal, Sean.
I would say so. I would say they were.
Man. Don't even get me started on the side t-shirt deal they had going.
I heard Bischoff talk about it on his podcast.
Yeah.
Bischoff's show is a really good one for like that business aspect of things. Like there's so much good stuff there. You mentioned Minnesota earlier.
Yeah.
Like that area, we see it a lot today with like Cleveland. Like there's a ton of people that come from that specific area. And when I would ask people from Cleveland, like, what do you think cultivates such like immense wrestlers from there? I had one guy say, you got to be tough to be from Cleveland. The cold weather, the shitty sports teams, you got to be tough emotionally, you got to be tough physically. What do you think it is about Minnesota that cultivated so many, like, I mean, you, Rick Rude, Scott Norton, Kurt Hennig, the Road Warriors?
Hey, man, like, I appreciate you, like, mentioning me in the same sentence as those guys, but I am no Rick Rude, Road Warriors, or like,
you can bench more than any of those guys.
I wanted to be like them so bad. Like, I used to bounce in a few bars in Minnesota, like, I used to get in a lot of fights because I wanted to be a tough guy like them. It was ridiculous. So, but yeah, man, the cold weather has a lot to do with it. There's just an attitude, man. There's just an attitude up there that they have, and they don't have a monopoly on producing badasses, but,
they did well.
Yeah, because like Tampa has had it shared too, man. Like the Brandon Bull, Paul Orndorff, and
yes,
Dangerous Dan, the left-hand man, Spivey, and I mean, there were some badasses in Florida too. Dick Slater.
Oh yeah. As we wrap up, because I want to save some for future interviews as well, because I know I've jumped everywhere, but this is the first time I've sat down with you virtually. I did a few minutes with you at StarCast a few years ago.
Yeah.
Where'd you learn your kicks? I'm always fascinated to find out, did somebody take Taekwondo? Was it like, where was it?
Yeah, I started Taekwondo when I was 10.
That's man, that's
Yeah.
such a
It was
foundation.
it's the perfect martial art for kicks when it comes to integrating it into pro wrestling.
I always
Because like if you just did Muay Thai, you'd kill somebody
yes.
with your kicks. I mean, you know, right?
You're
Like,
throwing
I mean,
your
when I
hips
did,
all the way into it, and
yeah, man, you kidding me? You
yeah,
destroy somebody.
I always encourage like parents, like if you want to start your kids off on something, start them like with maybe jujitsu or taekwondo.
Yep.
You're probably wasting your money with karate. I mean, catch wrestling's a good one, obviously, if you got a
Yeah.
catch wrestling class or something.
I just felt like karate and taekwondo were very similar. Like, because
Yeah.
I did both. I did some like Kyokushinkai karate.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit
A
different
lot of
than,
the techniques were the exact same.
yeah, I mean,
Some weren't though. Some were.
there were a lot of like instructors out here that were your typical like 45-year-old big bellied dudes, and you're like, I know you've never competed before, but if you can find like Kyokushin or Taekwondo, I'm like, man, give me that all day. So I looked
Some
at
of the Kyokushin guys might take offense to me saying it's like Taekwondo because
yeah.
like really Kyokushins are bad motherfuckers. Like Andy Hoog, I don't know if you know who that is.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, that exists in grappling too. Like when I would go to Billy Robinson seminars, he would be
Yeah.
particular about not using jujitsu terminology. He'd be like,
Like
it's
double
a,
wrist lock.
exactly. He'd say
Yeah.
only Kimura can call it a Kimura, or you can only call it that whenever he's doing it. He would be very specific about that type of stuff. It's always fascinating when you find out like which style like emanated from where, the similarities and the differences from them. But I always looked at your kicks and I was like, I wonder where he developed those from.
Oh yeah, that was it. But even then, man, like you'll see a lot of guys, Sean, like in the past, and like they've done a way better job these days. But like in the past, there would be some legit martial artists that just couldn't figure out how to do it in a pro wrestling match to make it look good.
Boss Rutan said one of the worst he's ever gotten hurt was one of the few like pro wrestling matches that he did. And
Ross Sapp was a great pro wrestler.
he was, yeah. And I mean,
He
that's,
could have been a really big star in pro wrestling.
I think so too, especially, I mean, my God, no closed fist, no problem for that guy. Like that's, that,
Dude, are you kidding me? I'd rather get hit with just about anybody's closed fist than I would an open hand from him.
no kidding. And I mean,
Man.
that's one of the reasons I think he would have been so big, because the closed fist is banned in pro wrestling, but you'd almost rather get hit with his closed fist than his open hand, the way that he threw them.
I think Pancrase, when they were talking about open hands, they were talking about slaps, not palm heel strikes.
Yes. Oh. Guys, GCW Welcome to Heartbreak, February 25th. Sean Waltman, man, it's always incredible to talk to you. I could pick your brain about wrestling all day. I'm so excited to see you and Janela against Myers and Cardona.
Yeah, on Fight TV.
Yep.
Because, and you know, there's a pretty stacked undercard too, man. Like Dr. Wagner Jr., somebody I used to wrestle in Japan a lot, down in Mexico. We were around each other a lot.
Speedball Mike
Homicide.
Bailey and Ninja Mac. I can't wait for that one too.
Ninja Mac's legit.
He's incredible. He is.
How many
incredible.
different styles of martial arts does that guy do?
That dude is unbelievable. Like when I see him pull this stuff off, I'm in disbelief. There's also Jacob Fatu and Juicy against the Briscoes. Man, you want to? That's gonna be just people beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
You know you're going to see a good GCW scramble there. AJ Gray's working on the show. Nick Wayne and Blake Christian. There's going to be an incredible show there. And GCW keeps rolling on, man. They've got this is their year, I think. Like they're going to make an impression on an awful lot of people.
Yeah, man. I'm just glad to be a part of it. I know it sounds kind of corny or whatever, but you know.
But
I think I picked the right people to do this with.
I do too, and we're glad to see you a part of it, guys. Check it out, FITE TV, GCW. Welcome to Heartbreak. Sean Waltman, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man.
Until next time, guys. We're out. I'm always so excited to interview Sean Waltman. He was one of my inspirations growing up. One of those people that I think is timeless in the ring. You know, you can always trust there's going to be a good match whenever Sean Waltman's in the ring. And that trust is important. You know, like when you're surfing the web and you want that security, with nordvpn.com/Fightful. Don't worry about hackers and that unsecured Wi-Fi when you're traveling to your next GCW show. Or those people in the crowd. Probably some hackers in there too. nordvpn.com/Fightful gives you that peace of mind when traveling, and you can access content from over 59 different countries by changing your virtual location with just one click. Buy pay-per-views a little bit cheaper. Subscribe to services overseas a little bit cheaper, and you can use it on all your devices, whether it's a phone, TV, laptop, desktop, even your router. nordvpn.com/Fightful has you covered. Right now, they got a great deal and an additional month free when you use nordvpn.com/Fightful and a 30-day money-back guarantee. If NordVPN isn't for you, no risk whatsoever with nordvpn.com/Fightful, and it's the fastest VPN in the world. Check it out, my friends. You will love it. I use this every single day. nordvpn.com/Fightful.